To everybody that left some comments on that question that I put out there of like what you'd like to see me review next, appreciate that. And there's a possibility that depending on how things go with this weekend or whatever, I might pick up one of those things. So we'll see what happens. What's going on, people? So the other day, homegrown kicks, right? It was either in one of his videos or it was when we were talking on Instagram. He was talking about how he doesn't get the whole thing of like Champs is out of stock of something and Foot Locker has it, but they won't just talk to each other and get it to you. It doesn't make any sense to me. And then I see stuff like this where I bought these from Champs and they put them in a foot action bag, and I'm like, how does that work, right? It's weird. It is, but they're doing what they do, and it makes sense to them. So more power to them. Also, since today is the 26th, if you know Christmas is your thing and you celebrated that yesterday, hopefully it was all thumbs up and everything went how you wanted it to go. If it didn't, there's always next year. I got my brother a pair of airmaxes. I got him the orange duck camos, or the safety orange as it says on the box. Dude loved them. He put them on his feet as soon as he opened the box and just ran outside into the snow. I am not kidding you. That's exactly what happened. I was watching it as it happened. It was crazy. He was so happy. But anyways, here we go. Got the top of the box right there, right? And then the side of the box down there for you, if you guys like to see that. I don't know why I always show you that stuff, because I feel like this population that cares is like, bam. Anyways, let's go ahead and open these things up and see what we're looking at. So, there we go. This one's looking pretty decent. I had my eyes on these for a little while, and I guess it's kind of a good thing that I finally pulled the trigger because, well, they were running low on sizes, I'll say that. At least in Virginia Beach. So, here we go. Looking at these, everything's, oh, that's nice. Got some extra laces in there. Seems to be a trend lately on the unboxings that I've been doing. Also seems to be a lot of red on the shoes that I've been unboxing lately, minus those Yeezys. I don't know, have you guys noticed that? But anyways, it looks like everything is okay. Everything's on the up and up. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is now review time on this right here. The Nike Air Max 97 in radiant red and whatever kind of gray they want to call that. So, like I was saying, I saw these a while ago whenever the radiant red 90s came out. I was cool with the 90s. I just wasn't, in that primary fan base that ran out and bought them all immediately. If I do see a pair later, I'll probably pick one up. But these 97s, they had my attention. And then I made that post the other day about like, hey, what shoes do you guys want to see next? And someone was like, the radiant red 97s. And I was like, we'll see, dude. And here we are. So, if I could remember whose name that was, I would have said it, but I don't, so there will have been a picture across the screen more than likely. But let's go ahead and get down into this here. So, we're going to start with the bottom, because that's where I normally start. Down here, you've got a pretty plain outsole, right? Nothing too fancy about it. You got this little bubble thing with the Nike logo. Otherwise, it's just a whole bunch of black and that little bit of red. And now, we're going to move on up here to the midsole, right? So across the midsole, you've got this big air bubble thing going on. It has the nice little see-through action going on in there, so you can kind of see what's going on. It's got the nice radiant red, very similar to the 98s. And something else that I can't quite think of, somewhat like the Plus, but the bubble is bigger, right? So you can see more into there. And then swooping around to the back of the midsole, you do have a little Nike logo indented into the side of there. But overall, nothing too crazy down there. It's decent though. I do like the look. It's sometimes a little bit is enough, right? You don't want anything too crazy. Now, let's move on here to the upper. So, if you're familiar with the 97s, they've kind of got layers. It's like a cake or an onion, I guess. Anyways, they start on the bottom here. They've got this suede going on, which feels pretty nice, given that these are not like a premium style shoe. It's pretty soft. I'll give them that. And then above that, with the radiant red and that gray, those are not suede. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It feels kind of like that normal plain plasticky sort of feel that you find on a lot of shoes or whatever. But there is also going to be 3M somewhere in there, so it has to be enough to reflect that, you know what I mean? So the materials you can use, not a lot of wiggle room there. And then you have the black areas, right? So the black areas are kind of like a mesh that you might find on the toe box of like certain 90s or ones, things like that. That's kind of how it feels. Nothing fantastic, but it's, you know, what you'd expect out of a non-premium shoe, right? So again, don't take that the wrong way. You just get what you pay for in some cases. I will say though, moving up past this onto the tongue area, you do have that same mesh look on the tongue, but it's significantly softer feeling. So that's pretty nice. I do like that. And then behind that, you do have the standard gray laces with the little lacing system that they have kind of holding down those. It's weird, looks almost like a ladder in some ways to me. And overall though, the way that they do the lacing on here, how they're kind of hidden, that's just one of my favorite things about the 97s. So that's one of the reasons, additionally with the 3M, why they hold a lot of weight for me as far as airmax models go. Now at the top of that tongue, what you're going to see there is just the standard Nike swoosh, right? You got that red circle going, well, not a circle, more like an oval, I guess. Either way, you got some kind of red circle thing going on with the Nike swoosh in there. And then bring things over to the back, you've got airmax on the back with this here black pull tab with those red racing stripe kind of things going down the sides. And it looks like these laces might be 3M as well, so because I just caught that as these were on the inside. So I'll figure that out in a minute though. And then moving on to the inside here, if you look down in there, you've got that same radiant red insole with the Nike and the Nike Air and the swoosh in gray. So overall, that will be the whole upper of this shoe. Just to give you my quick thoughts as far as the upper goes, I'm really liking this. It's pretty nice. It's nothing amazing. It's probably not going to stand out to everybody necessarily, but the colors that they went with, and maybe it's also the fact that I like 97s and often see pairs that I don't care for. So when I do see a good 97, it stands out a lot more, and that's where we are right now. So also, as I may have kind of mentioned, when it comes to the laces, they do also have these radiant red ones, and those, I'm kind of torn honestly on that. Like, I wouldn't mind having those in, but at the same time, the 3M carries a lot of weight, and the fact that they're already in the shoe carries even more. So we'll see what happens, but don't be surprised when you don't see me switch out these laces. And I believe that concludes the outside of the shoe. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to talk about the comfort and the size and all that stuff. So here's my thought, right? When it comes to the sizing of these, it is kind of a narrow shoe, right? But it's still fine enough for me to go true to size. So if you happen to have some 98s, I'd say they're probably on par with that. Otherwise, I would just say if you have any other Air Maxes, your safe bet in my eyes would be to buy the same size, or if you have Ultra Boost, buy the same size. So again, since I find those are all true to size shoes, I find this to be a true to size fit as well. Now, as far as the comfort goes, it can be a little tricky with the 97s because some of them are made of different materials, and like my Ultras are a little more forgiving. Some can be a little more rigid. So that kind of varies, at least as far as the upper goes. I haven't really worn these yet, so I can't even really say, but I'm sure that the midsole is going to be where you want it to be because, again, it's just your standard air bubble down there. So I'm going to say that these are probably good for some all-day comfort. If for some reason I'm not right on that, there will have been something flashing across the screen saying how wrong I was, right? If you don't see any words flashing across the screen, then that means I was right, and these are pretty alright. So that means that I believe we are done with this review, because what else is there to really talk about? Nothing that I can think of. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up. So from me to you, again, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are, and I will be back with some more reviews next week. I think the things that I ordered have shipped, maybe? I don't know. It's kind of hard to keep track of all that stuff sometimes. But in the meantime, there are other reviews you can watch of mine if you want, or just on the internet. There's a lot of stuff on the internet. I'm a huge Jim Cornette guy. I like to listen to his rants. That's something to watch. Anyways, Thanks for coming by. I do appreciate it. Later, people.